Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the press conference for the Hobbit Expected Journey. We're very lucky to have some of the filmmakers and the actors that are in the movie. If you could just raise your hands to ask questions, I'll call on you and we'll go from there. Right here.
I would love to hear how your reaction, especially those of you who haven't been to Hall H before. How was that emotionally and how fun was it? I'd just love to hear some reactions.
Well, I've never been to Hall H before, and that's good. Yeah, it was lovely to have that. So in a way, it's sort of it's fulfilling my expectations of what I've heard about Hong Kong, exceeding them as well. I was just struck by how I was struck by just how emotional people were talking about the film, talking about anticipating the film. With each question there came a kind of preamble of, what the previous films have kind of made them really like. So, all cliches aside, it's a really nice thing to be part of. Something that actually touches people, genuinely touches people. It's quite lovely.
Right here.
Peter, we heard today that you're wanting to shoot more footage and possibly even make a third. Can you expand on that?
Well, it's all very it's very premature. I mean, we have got incredible source material with the appendices, because the Hobbit is obviously the novel, but then we also have the rights to use this 125 pages of additional notes that we're helping expand the world of the Hobbit that's published at the end of Return of the King. And we've used some of that so far, and just in the last few weeks as we've been wrapping up the shooting and thinking about the shape of the story, we've actually, Philippa and Fran and I have talked to the studio about other things that we haven't been able to shoot, and seeing if we could possibly persuade them to do a few more weeks of shooting. A bit of shooting, additional shooting next year, and what form that ended up taking, the discussions are pretty early, so there isn't anything to report, but we're certainly, there's other parts of the story that we'd like to tell that we haven't had a chance to tell yet, so we're just trying to have those conversations with the studio.
There we go.
My question to Peter. The Lord of the Rings books are written for more mature readers, and I think that's one of itself in the adaptation of the original trilogy. But the Hobbit is written more as a children's novel. And how does that affect the adaptation? Do you mention that from the novel, or the magic concept by your Lord of the Rings?
It's a very good question, and I think the answer lies somewhere in between. Again, it's a similar answer actually, because we basically use more source material than just like for instance in The Hobbit, where Gandalf mysteriously disappears for chapters on end, and it's never really explained in any detail where he's gone. Much later, Tolkien fleshed those moments out, and we did in these appendices we will talk about what happened, and it was altogether a lot more darker and more serious than what was written in The Hobbit. So we've, and also I do want to make, to be quite honest, I want to make a series of movies that run together. So if any crazy lunatic wants to watch them all in a row, there will be a consistency of tone. I don't want to make a purely children's story followed by the Lord of the Rings. So we are providing a balance. I mean, a lot of the comedy and the charm and the fairy tale quality of The Hobbit comes from the characters. You are dealing with you're dealing with Bilbo Baggins, who is a little more reluctant possibly to go on the venture than Frodo was. You're dealing with dwarves who have a personality and a sort of a camaraderie of their own. So there's a lot of humour and a light touch to be gained from those characters, but there's still some serious things involved. So hopefully the Hobbit films will kind of comfortably straddle both of those.
All right, you have a question?
Why did you decide not to show the word brains?
When did I decide?
Or why didn't you?
Oh, why did I? Well, it's 48 frames a second. I think has the potential of being quite an industry, an important moment for the film industry, because we have to provide a theatrical experience to bring audiences back to the cinemas, because we're in an age where there is dwindling attendance, particularly amongst younger people. And so I think we have to look to the technology that we have to try to figure out ways to make this cinematic experience much more spectacular, more immersive. But Hall H is not the place to do it. I mean, we screened, and nor is it, nor is 10 minutes of footage. You literally, I mean, I've seen a lot of 48 frames over the past year and a half, and it's fantastic. It's an incredible thing, but I didn't want to repeat the CinemaCon experience where literally people see this reel and all they write about is 48 frames a second. I mean, why? That doesn't do us any good. It doesn't do 48 frames a second any good. To accurately judge that, you really need to sit down and watch the entire film, and that opportunity is going to be there in December. I wanted the focus to be on the footage, the characters, the performances, not the technical stuff.
Mr. Freeman, you've done other literary adaptations before. How can you compare the experiences of taking on Tolkien and taking on Adams?
It's more green screen. It's even more green screen this time with Adams. They're very different. I mean, apart from the fact that they have a fantastical element to them and unplanned adaptation, they're completely different. I mean, literally as well. I mean, the experience of this is genuinely unlike anything I've ever done, and unlike anything I'm likely to do again. Just the breadth of scale and time. Just being in a different part of the hemisphere that I'm used to. I mean, it's a whole different experience. It's like a huge chunk of your life, So that alone makes it different from anything else. The budget makes it different from anything. You're constantly walking onto sets and sound stages where what you're acting on would take up the entire budget of any other film I've done. Do you know what I mean? So just the scale of it is quite phenomenal.
As far as taking a character from a book, does either author make it easier for you to inhabit the characters?
It's a good question. Not that I noticed particularly, no. I mean, with Arthur Dent as well, he serves, I suppose, a similar kind of function to Bilbo in that he's the nearest thing to an audience member in the film. He's kind of the audience's way in. And to a certain extent, you could argue that they're archetypes in the hands of a much lesser actor. You laugh. No, but they're kind of they're ciphers in a way, I suppose you could say, and they're people they're sort of reluctant heroes who end up being heroes kind of by accident, because they're archetypes, their own people, I suppose. But also, a lot of the time, it's not just about whether the author makes it easier, because that goes through an adaptive, that's a work process, and then you're working with directors as well. So it's the entire experience that kind of determines whether you're going to have an easy time with it or not. So it's not just a Tolkien versus Douglas Adams, both of whom are brilliant writers. It's who's directing the film, who's adapted it, it's everything.
Young lady.
My question is for Martin and Richard. You were the two newbies to this world and this style of filmmaking. How was it coming on to this, and also both of you having to deal with the point of view shots and the fact that the characters were shorter for you?
I was quite envious when I came in that the guys that worked on the trilogy had that ability to work without too much attention when we did that first film. But at the same time, I think the attention that was on The Hobbit made everyone raise the bar and work in a different way. And of course, the facilities at Sloane Street are phenomenal. So everything just had an energy to it that I've never experienced. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of only really, what do you mean the point of view shot?
Well, how do you tell some of these? Because you used a little bit of trickery when you did the first.
A little bit of trickery.
Where you were the kids.
Yes. I mean, it's only really, for me it became really noticeable when we went to film 2, but I'm allowed to say it, in later. In the world of, in the book, each other as human beings. And that's when we became more aware that it's really a story, you know. Because we spend so much time just hanging out with each other. I mean, we're very aware that